I've got 11 steps that I want to cover with you that focus more on how you become the best at your trade, the best of the best, or the best you can be. What are the steps I would take to become better at my domain? If you're an engineer, if you're an accountant, if you actually are a marketer or a seller, or a consultant who operates and improves business processes, whatever it might be, this is for you. And another way to look at today as well is if you are considering a career change, or if you are considering a mild career pivot, or if you're jumping into a new industry or whatever it might be, right? I know some of us who are going through our career, we're very dialed in. We know what we want to happen. We know where we want to go. So, but some of us are considering changes. Well, today is for you too. First thing I want you to do, there is a workbook that is specific to today's lesson. So we have not told you about this yet, but it's a workbook like this. Yours is going to say master your craft or master your trade on the front of it. And this is a booklet with a lot of what I'm going to be talking about specifically today. But the other nice thing about this particular booklet is in the back of the booklet, I have a 10-day or a 10-week challenge that you can follow in order to implement the lessons from today. If you if you happen to have a copy of this book, there is a 10-day and 10-week challenge in the Master Your Trade chapter, but I realize not everybody has the book. I understand everybody might not want to get the book, and so I don't want anybody to be jilted. And so I have this workbook that you can grab. It's totally free. Carol will put it in the chat and just download it. It'll go right to your inbox. I always like to outline the steps that I think about, that I take whenever I have tried to grow my skills, become better at my trade. And I've outlined what I think are basically, we'll call it 11, or you could call it 10, because the first one's really like step 0, because it's the foundation for everything else that's built upon it. But one of the things that I want to say is that attitude itself is it's not a banal platitude about having a good attitude and how that can actually change the way you experience whatever it is you're going to experience, and perform whatever it is you're going to perform, and inspire others as well. And I have this quote in the book that optimism is something you manufacture from your attitude, but inspiration is something somebody else manufactures from your optimism. And those all work in tandem. And in Out of Reach but in Sight, Using Goals to Achieve Your Impossible, this speech that became a book that I gave in 2013, it was actually when I gave the speech, I talked about to the audience that as I thought back and I looked at all the people that I had consulted to, the companies I consulted to, the people that I had managed as a corporate practitioner, as well as all the people that I interviewed, recruited as an executive recruiter. And I said, to stay true to that and to stay true to the Zebra Code book as well, I said there are 3 things that I notice about all successful people. They have passion, vision, and commitment. They're passionate about what they're doing. I'm not saying I want you to pursue your passion. I don't think passion works that way. We're not born with passion. It's something that we discover a love for something from the time we were born till now. And you need to be able to nurture that in different formats over your career. My passion has always been about helping people, except I used my talent in engineering and a mathematical and a scientific mind to go into an engineering field that brought me into an IT and management consulting profession. But my passion was still around helping people, but I was talented in engineering related, analytical related, business process engineering related stuff. So I got a job that would pay the bills, and then I found a way to focus in on leveraging my talent to focus in on my passion. And then it evolved into my executive recruitment firm, where I took one step closer to focusing just on helping people. And now I'm a career coach who exclusively focuses on helping individuals. But I had a vision at each stage of that helped me understand where I wanted to take that passion and a commitment to never stop doing it. Now, I talk more about this in the book, and I would encourage you to read that. But I wanted to give you something a little different today, something I've been working on that I really wanted to make a whole talk about this. And I think I mentioned this to the book clubbers a few weeks back, maybe even a whole month. But I wanted to give you another way of looking at something that I think I wanted to say, how do I look at people that what's the magic that they have in common that I could share with you that I think, in addition to passion, vision, commitment, but to give you something more tangible. And I think everybody that I've met, and I want to put myself in this bucket because I want to share a personal story with you about the Mile Walk Academy. But I think that people that really got it all going on, they work in these frames. They have a framework. They understand the framing, and I'm going to explain what these are, and they have the right frame of mind, okay? So number one, they have a system, a strategy, or an approach to anything that they do. And this is likely the least important thing. It truly is. The story they feed themselves. So I talked to you about framing, right? Priming is moving someone's emotional state to the place you want it. Framing is getting someone to look at and interpret your message the way you want them to interpret it. But guess what? The same goes for you. The internal talk that we have. What's the story you tell yourself? And so I will tell you the story I tell myself, but the story you tell yourself matters. The rhetoric matters. And so if you tell yourself, well, I'm going to fake it till I make it, don't ever do that, because this skull-shaped kingdom knows every deep, dark secret of yours. You could lie to a lot of people, including me, but you'll never lie to yourself. So if you think you're faking it till you make it, you're going to be a faker forever. You'll never make it. If you're trying to tell yourself, well, I stink and I'm always a bum and I'm always going to fail, you will. But if you believe you'll succeed, and I'm not just saying just because you think it and you want to manifest it into your life that it's going to happen. No, it's hard work. It's hard work. But I know if I put the hard work in, I will succeed because I have always succeeded. And if I give myself enough time to succeed, you can damn well bet I'm going to succeed. But then the state of mind is, how do I feel at any moment in time? And this is where attitude comes in. Am I going to experience it, and whatever I'm going through, am I going to gain the benefits of the experience? I also have told you in the Zebra Code, among many other places, that experience is not what's happened to you. It's the meaning you attach to what's happened to you. And I think this is the magic, these three things. So now I want to tell you a story that gives me a chance to clean up something I said on Tuesday that when I checked the tape, I don't think it came out exactly how I intended it. And so I wanted to clear it up. So you all are, you all have found me later in my career. And in 2015, I made a commitment to be a career coach in this capacity, the capacity that most of you know me. And when I started in 2015, it was July 1st. Literally, I made a commitment on July 1st of 2015. I said, I need to figure out a way to coach individuals, and not just coach individuals to help them with 100% of their life as it relates to their career, but I want to reach people around the world. And I have to figure out how to do that, but I'm going to figure out how to do that. And I need to reestablish, or basically at this point, create a new brand for myself. I was an executive recruiter at the time, so obviously I knew how to run a recruitment firm. I knew how to recruit. I knew how to sell recruitment services. So I knew marketing, sales, service, and a number of other things from a consultative standpoint. And I knew how to hire, and I knew how to interview, and I knew how a bunch of these other things. But I was a business-to-business organization. I sold business services to another business. In this case, was recruitment services. So between July 2015 and November of 2016, I reestablished that brand. So 15, 16 months, whatever it was. But the thing that I had to decide was, what is my overall strategy going to be for my new business? And let me tell you what I mean about the strategy. I didn't have to have it all figured out, and I didn't need to know exactly what it looked like. I needed to know, I knew that I could teach on, if I was going to help individuals, job searching. I could teach them on career development, high performance, success, and those kind of things. And I probably was better equipped at that time to teach you about leadership development. But I didn't teach you about leadership development, and I didn't brand myself that way. What did I do? I said, I want to think about if I gave myself forever. At that time, right? This is 9 years ago, so I'm 49 at the time, or whatever I was. If I gave myself 30 years to do this, right, which forever, what would I do? And I thought, job searching stinks. It's an acute pain, and people, they need help. And if I could solve that acute pain for them, then that would make me happy, and I'm equipped to do that. So instead of teaching the leadership development first, let's teach job searching, but not because it's acute pain. I thought if I really had forever to do this, if I teach them about job searching first and I build them programs and they get to know me and I can do it in a manner that shows them I basically can help them with their entire career, I could then second, build a leadership development program so that I could help somebody find their job and I could help somebody thrive in it. And that'd be a one-stop shop to be a career place for them to go to get basically anything that they needed. That's my vision. My strategy to grow into that is to do the job searching first and then build a relationship with you, gain your trust, expose you to a lot of the career development stuff so that the entire Mile Walk Academy universe works in harmony with each other. The job searching stuff creates a halo effect, and that trust for somebody who enters into my community that way is going to, and the person who wants to put in the effort to develop their career is my kind of person. I don't want to just fix them in their job search and let them run away and never see them again, although I know I'm going to have to sacrifice the first few years to do that because I can only do so much at a singular point in time. So I'm going to give myself 3 to 4 years to do nothing but job search coaching, which is what I did. And I said, once I get the job search coaching in a format that I want, not every piece together, but in a format. What that format was I didn't know what it was going to look like. There was online training. There was individual resume reviewing. There was individual coaching. There was group coaching. There was online support. That, to me, that was the complete tool set where the individuals would have every modality. Once that's up and running, which it was, and then in 2019 March, I implemented the leadership coaching program. And the other day I said, well, I didn't really have a strategy. That's not entirely true. I had a strategy. I knew I wanted a subscription model. I knew I would be teaching every month. I knew I would be providing workbooks like this and creating of a library. What would probably have been more accurate for me to say is I didn't know exactly what the whole thing would look like as it evolved over time. But guess what? I didn't know I was going to write this book. I just knew I needed to get in motion, but I was always in motion inside this framework. It has never changed, not in nearly 10 years. It looks no different. I drew a grid 10 years ago that had this line, and I've just been filling it in ever since. Now, things might have changed within the little grid, but the grid itself hasn't changed. Some of the little deliverables that I create for you have changed, but the lanes are still there. The major assets are still there. The modalities are still there. And I'm going to continue to do that. So there were some dark days, people. There were some dark days. There was no balance in my life. But then again, if you want to be a 1%er, why would you think you're going to have balance in your life if you're going to be a 1%er? You're not going to be a 1%er by working 40 hours a week, right? Punching the clock, and then spending every other minute outside of work doing other stuff. That's okay if you want to do that. But if you want to become a 1%er, there's going to need to be a little obsession involved. But that's okay. But the story I kept feeding myself is, I'm going to do it because I've done everything else in my life. And I'm going to fail a whole bunch of times. But in the long term, it's going to be a success. And then at every moment in time, I never let myself get frustrated with the outcome-based results. We talked about this the other day, because when you have expectations, when I sold my first online training program and 50 people bought it in November and early December of 2016, I could have said, geez, you can only sell it to 50 people, instead of I made my first business to consumer sale and 50 people had faith in me enough to actually reach into their pocket and pull out their credit card and swipe it. That is a big freaking deal. And so the story I keep feeding myself and the state of mind that I constantly remind myself to have, because it's not automatic. It isn't. You have to slow down your thinking. Otherwise, it'll run at the speed of your emotions. So you have to constantly intercept yourself to give yourself the right frame of mind and feed yourself the right narrative. Who's tracking this? If you turn the camera, if you just clicked me off right now, but you got this, you won today. Because this, to me, is the trick for all of you. You get this right, you can do anything. And then the rest of what I'm about to tell you is pretty good stuff too. But it all starts here. Give me I'm tracking in the chat. You see what I mean? So when I say attitude, optimism, inspiration, this is what I'm talking about. All right? Cool? Cool. Tracking. Jamie, what's up? Hope you and Wendy are watching me together. Amy Baker, perspective is key. Andy's tracking, Ryan's tracking, Kendra's tracking. I love it. All right. Number 2, what the hell is the zebra code all about? It's about this one. Capabilities, the transcending skills, the skills that make the best, the best. The skills that make the best, the best. And what's the zebra code about? The zebra code is filled with nothing but capabilities, right? The foundational traits like focus, like empathy, like self-awareness, like organization, forming good habits and routines, knowing how to interact with people. So let's talk about this. You all do something very, very specific. I help people find jobs. I help them thrive in them too. Okay, I help them find jobs. There's the job searching knowledge that I have to have. How do you write a resume? How do you interview effectively? How do you negotiate your salary? How do you change careers? All of that is domain expertise. It is my trade. It is my craft. It's my domain expertise, my subject matter expertise. But I am a career coach who does that. And so in order for me to be the best career coach, what do I need? Well, I need listening skills. I need researching skills. I need to understand what those good steps are. I need evaluation skills of what people might go through, the mistakes they might make. My communication skills have to be solid. Oh, I have to sell stuff because I have to get people to buy my stuff so I can help them on the deepest level. So I need sales skills. I need marketing skills. I need community building skills. I need relationship building skills. All of these kinds of things are foundational, meaning they'll make the best career coaches the best career coaches. Anybody can steal my resume template and say, here's a good resume. Here, follow this. That doesn't make them a good coach, because I also need to recognize which buttons of yours to push. I mean that in a good way, not in a manipulative way, but how to inspire you, because any dumpy coach can read the playbook, right, and spit out the steps. They could just watch my videos and spit back what I said to you. Except the best coaches will inspire you to take on challenge that you either would otherwise not take on, but now will because you have the confidence to do that, or B, if you needed to take on the challenge anyway, like find a job, you'll do it with more vigor and confidence. So you all, for whatever it is, throw your business function in the chat. Give me some of your business functions, and I'll spit out some capabilities specifically for you so that we can map this up. So tell me what you do. Give me a couple of a verb-noun combo, a noun-verb combo, or your title of what you do specifically. And I'll tell you what the capabilities are to give you an idea. Okay, Kendra, customer experience and customer success. Okay, so obviously you got to have some working knowledge of your product, but what you really need to understand is your interviewing skills of your customer. What are your goals? What are your objectives? Evaluation of their resources. What are you going to be throwing at this project? Implementing this software, merging this or whatever. Because you have a product that you want to ensure they're using properly and integrating it into their environment. You need good business process re-engineering skills or technology engineering skills or whatever it is. But stuff like that. Oh, what about customer service skills? What about listening skills to evaluate what they're saying? What about diagnosing? Hey, oftentimes, well, there's a communication aspect. Oftentimes, customers trip up here, here, and here. We want to make sure we can preempt that and prevent that or mitigate you from doing that by educating you here, here, and here. You got to be able to anticipate based on what they're saying. All of that's deduction. So those are some capabilities for you. Let me grab somebody else. A trainer, Cheryl. She's a trainer or a training specialist. You got to have great presentation skills, but you also need to be able to apply real life examples and integrate them into your training. But when you're training, there's a way for you to what? Communicate it, but maybe you need to document it. So maybe you need some good writing skills, or maybe you need some practical business skills or subject matter expertise for what you're doing. But if you are a trainer and your job is to relay what somebody needs to do, whether it's mechanical or whether it's technological or whether it's data entry or whether it's whatever, so you're going to need to have strong presentation skills, strong communication skills. Those, to me, writing skills, those are going to be some of the foundational capabilities. That's what I'm talking about. So whatever you're training, every trainer needs those. So, and then it depends what additional functions you have. There might be some evaluation skills. You might then look at, and there might be an evaluation component to what you do. Maybe you don't just train them, but you're also responsible for their improvement over 6 months or a year. You've got to evaluate their performance. You have to be able to take what's happening, and you have to have analysis skills that say, oh, if they're lagging in this, that means I need to teach them differently, alter this, have refresher course or whatever. So there are a number of foundational skills. A lot of you are marketers, a lot of you are sellers, and those kinds of things. Some of you are accountants or engineers. The accountants, the engineers, you need good analytical skills, good thinking skills. You need to be detail-oriented. That's a trait. How do you become more detail-oriented? Some of you that are sellers, well, you need human psychology. You need to be able to be organized. You need to know how to present, how to not just your pitch and selling your product, but also listening to the customer so that you could diagnose and make an analogy of how your particular product is going to fit into their environment and what the right kind of solution would be. And then you might even be the one that's responsible for customer success, or you might turn it over to somebody else. So the customer service skills and those kinds of things. I think you get what I'm saying here. The point is, no matter what you do, there's a playbook for it. All you project managers could go to the PMI and get the PMP certification training. Any project manager can do that. And if you go to those classes and you take that certification test, it basically means you're just like everybody else. You all learn to sing from the same song sheet. But if you have the capabilities, customer service, organization, staff management, right, leadership, and other things, you're going to become much better than people who are just reading the playbook and executing it. All right, teachers. Now, I talked with you the other day about getting a stable of coaches. But one of the things I want to do today, so in general, as you're building your overall skill building plan, you're going to find those skills that you need to build. And in particular, what I'm talking about are the capabilities that you need to build. And you're going to go at the teachers. Well, if you want to master your trade, same kind of thing, but I want to take a deeper dive today. And I want to talk about the 8 things that I would look at if I was evaluating any coach. So this goes for you evaluating me. It goes for you evaluating every other YouTuber, any other author, blogger, online trainer, anybody you're using or anybody that you're using as a body part to your Franken mentor. All right, number one, do they know their stuff? Now, some of you might be coming at this from a standpoint of, Andy, I don't know anything. And so if it sounds like they know what they're doing, I might not know until I've tried it. Yeah, I get that. How many of you, show of hands, don't worry, I'm not going to show the chat. How many of you tried some other trainers and said, geez, this isn't working, but hey, Coach Andy's got my back. This guy, everything he says seems to work, right? I know that's out there because I get emails every day from people who download my stuff. And when you download my stuff, it says welcome and more resources. There's an email. And I say, here's 100 words on me. Give me 100 words on you. And I read those. I responded to like 4 or 5 of them this morning. Right. And I see what you say. Hey, I was following so-and-so. That didn't seem to be working. I got your resume template and this thing's way better, or something like that. But you know what I mean, right? You have to curate this stuff. All right. Number 2, results. Okay, folks, repeat after me. Everybody repeat after me. The YouTuber's subscriber count is not an indication of how awesome they are or the results that they will give you. The subscriber count is meaningless. A subscriber is a real person with real problems and real aspirations just like me. If somebody's SEO is better than mine, or YouTube loves them better, or whatever, or they put more time into it, good, kudos to them. But is the trainer or coaches getting results and their own, how rich I am and how many millions I make a year is not results. Results is how many people find jobs, how many people love their careers thanks to dear Coach Andy. It's your results that you need to monitor, other people's results. Look at their case studies. Do their case studies sound realistic? Why do you think I have video case studies of me interviewing people, sharing their stories with you and all the nonsense and mistakes they made and all the myths they had to figure out thanks to me and how they found their job or how they negotiated for more money or how they're so happy, right? Because I want you to hear from them directly, and because they're telling you their real life story, and you're gonna be able to compare your issues to what they're facing. That's reality. Right? But people who say, when I get emails from coaches who say, Andy, we can 5 times your revenue in 2 minutes. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not going to do that for me. That's nonsense. Does that stuff actually work? Don't fall prey to that. And then their style. Guess what? Coach Andy gives it to you straight. Lots of times. Coach Andy will be gentle, but you're big boys and girls. And I'm going to respect you to where I'm going to give it to you straight. And I'm going to tell you, look, if you want it to work, you're going to have to put the work in. But don't worry, because this is a comfortable place too. And I'm empathetic. And you got to roll all that in to how I deliver what I deliver. And I might rub some people the wrong way. And I know there's no way I'm going to please 8 billion, the other 7 billion, 999 million, whatever, blah, 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 out there. I'm going to fail at that, but I'm going to be me, and hopefully that resonates with you. I might not be your cup of tea. You might want somebody younger. You might want somebody closer to your age. You might want a woman. It makes no difference to me. Just figure out if their style works for you. And then love. I want you to love me, and I love you, and I really love you guys for coming to the shows. But I'm talking about, do they love what they're teaching? Because if they don't love what they're teaching, they're not going to be around to be your coach very long. And so I love this. I loved writing this. I did. It was hard. It was really hard. But all I kept thinking about was you. Because every morning before I started writing, I go through a process that makes sure I fixate on you. I know it sounds kind of obsessed, but it works because I'm not writing this for me. I'm writing it for you. But there's subject matter in here about building your career, and everybody who has a good career is generally happy, generally. And so I want to help you find the right job. That matters to me. I've already heard all the resume issues. I already know all the interviewing issues. So I have to challenge myself to stay engaged and challenge myself to teach you better. But the subject matter itself, I love. And while you might not like interviewing, I get it. But can we make this fun? Can we make it about developing your communication skills? Can we make it about your presentation skills? Can we make it about how you get better at remembering what you want to say and how you inspire the interviewer to know that their life is going to transform? Can I get you to look at it differently? That I love. I will never not love it. So that's why I'm still here. You got to look for that. You got to look for that. Okay. I'm partial to this one, 5, available? Are they available? I was here with my book launch team on Monday. I was here with you on Tuesday. I'm here with you on Thursday. Next week, I got a whole bunch of stuff. Week after that, I'm live 4 days. Like, the videos go out every single day. The YouTube videos, Tuesday, long form. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday is a live show. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get shorts. Every day, I'm there for you. I got to keep giving it to you. You catch what you can. But am I available for you to ask questions? There are a lot of books that I read that I think are nice and they're good and I learn stuff, but they'll never be in my stable of coaches because I don't even know whether those people have a YouTube channel or where they speak or whether they have conferences or programs or whatever. So if you're not available, I'm not going to learn anything from you. I'm going to read a book, but you got to reinforce that stuff. That's fine. Some people might just like that. All right. Are they generous? Do they give away free stuff? So a lot of people give freemiums away, but are the freemiums empty? Are they ploys to get your email? I try to give you as much as possible. I say move the free line. People say, Andy, how do you give so much away? I'm like, I don't know. My free stuff's really awesome. My paid stuff's even awesomer. Right? So gauge that. And then the modality. Do they, going back to kind of point number 5, are they available? But is the modality they offer you the modality you want? So it's great if you give me all these books, Andy. This is a 352-page book. But Andy, I need to see you. I need to feel like you're talking to me. Or I love to listen to you when I run on the podcast. Do you have a podcast? Can we do some meetups? Can I meet you and hug you? I'm a hugger. I'm Italian. This is just the way it is. You get what I'm saying, right? And then last, do they inspire me? If you're not inspired, quit them. Quit them. Period. Hard step. Okay, enough on this. Was that helpful to see, like, this is a big deal? And by the way, it's okay. Like, it's okay that they, if somebody teaches once a week or once a month, that's okay. Just make it fit you. I want to be me. I want to be me. So, okay, cool. Number 3. All right. Number 4. Practice makes permanent. It's 2 things about practicing that I want to tell you. So, you better get some good instruction, because whatever you can groove anything. You can groove anything, but just make sure you're grooving it the right way. And so number 1, you got to get the right instruction. But number 2, you must, if you want to get better, you must practice progressively. What does that mean? Okay, so I wrote in the book that, and I can give you the quick quote, but I think I might even be able to find the exact quote and message and the relationship between success and failure. Let me see where I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to it quickly, but I talk about confidence in you, and confidence has a lot more to do with your relationship with failure than success. When we succeed, it's easy to be confident, but we should be failing daily. We should be failing daily. And I'm not talking about you are a failure. A failure, a singular failure, does not make you a complete failure. I want you to have lots of little failures every single day so that you can continually get better. So what do I mean? Well, remember the other day and I was saying, hey, I wanted to get better at the video. So the first thing I needed to do was I needed to get the video camera on. Okay, check. So far, so good. And then I wanted to be able to give you a vlog, a video that I would put on my vlog. And the first thing that I needed to do was I needed to be able to make sure that I can hold eye contact. I needed to be able to have my notes because I needed to teach. I needed to get through the steps. Well, every time I would try to incrementally get better, whether that's faster, smoother, or whatever, then I failed. And so that was a minor fail, but it was a fail because I kept practicing to get better. And every time I tried to do it, I'd conk out. That's right, because that means I was pushing myself. It wasn't, if I'm just really successful and I keep doing the same thing over and over again, I'm not actually getting better. I'm just getting better at the same level. And I want you to continually get better. So you've got to practice more difficult efforts in order to become better progressively. And so you need to be practicing perfectly and then making mistakes as you hit the next level. And know that you will hit them and know that that's a sign that you made the attempt. That you keep at it, you're going to be able to get there. I mean, I remember the first time I swam in a lake and how tired I was. Like, this isn't even the same sport as swimming in a pool. And so then it was, how far could I go? And then it was, I know it's going to be windy this afternoon. I'm waiting till it's 30-mile-an-hour winds until I get into that water so that I got stuff splashing in my face. That's getting harder and harder and harder. That's progressively getting better. So that's what I'm talking about. Longer, faster, short, whatever it is, that's what you're trying to do. And in order to practice perfectly, what do you need? What do you need in order to practice perfectly? Give me first answer gets a signed hardcover, unless you already have a signed hardcover. What is one thing you absolutely need in order to practice perfectly? First answer gets a signed book. Gotta get out of it. Well, Amy, no, that yes, you have to start, but that's not what I'm looking for. Yes, you need. I'm talking about what is the key ingredient to making sure your practice is correct. Well, a good teacher's pretty close. Deliberate is good. Plan. All right, you know what? I'm going with, this is not exactly what I meant, but I'm going with David Matthews' plan. But what I was really looking for is you need lessons, meaning you need someone to give you the proper instruction, because if you don't have the proper instruction, you won't know how to practice. Why do you think there are month-long challenges with the steps in here to get you moving in the right direction? So Dave Matthews, I don't know if you're the singer, Dave Matthews. See Kara. She'll give you a signed hardcover wherever you are in the world. Okay, next thing is... Oh, wait, I like this. We're not Peter Parker. We're now on consistency. Jamie, we're now on consistency. Showing up the same way. So I show up for me each day, and I show up consistently, start about the same time, do the same things, detail-oriented, right? I have a bias for action, those kind of things. Same kind of thing. So Kara takes her cues from me, right? If I'm detail-oriented and I'm always there for her and I'm detail-oriented, she'll be detail-oriented. If you are not showing up consistently for yourself, that's really bad. But the people around you take their cue from you. I don't care where you are on the org chart or on the ladder. But if you're detail-oriented and conscientious, your team will, or your teammates will be, or your staff will be. Your manager probably will be. It will grow on them. And this is really, really important that you're not mercurial in anything that you do. You show up consistently. Now, do you know how a lot of what I teach you is, hey, my job seekers, you want a job search? Well, you need to do the job search challenge. And if you don't know what the job search challenge is, you can look it up on my channel. But you need to consistently reach out to 3 companies a day, 3 people, 1 in each company, and you need to send 3 messages, 1 to each person every day, consistently. I show up every Thursday, if not more frequently. If I'm going to tell you that consistency rules the day, how do you think that looks if I don't show up every Thursday, or at least quite frequently for you? You get a newsletter every Tuesday at 6:30. Never miss. Ever. Ever. I would have to be dead for you not to get that thing. Consistency. So that's what I mean. If I'm going to preach it and recommend it, you got to see that it works, or you got to see me doing it. It's not a do as I say, not as I do. Your mom could get away with that. My mom could get away with that. That's what I mean. You got to show up the same way in everything that you do. I'm not saying you got to be a robot with your feelings. I'm just saying be consistent. Believe me, you can miss a couple days out of 100. When I wrote this book, December 2nd, I tweaked the outline. December 3rd, boom, I was off running, never missed. Not Christmas, not New Year's, not Valentine's Day, not Martin Luther this or President's that or nothing. Every day. It didn't matter. Saturday, Sunday, holiday, it made no difference. I needed to show up for myself. And that's how stuff gets done. And so the people around you will take their cue from you. We talked about tools, so I want to go through this quickly. Figure out what you need. And I talked more at length about this the other day, but no matter what you do, you need tools. This is a tool. I got a card. I'm showing you a card. It's a tool. Camera's a tool. Mixer's a tool. My blue wind muff that I love is a tool. The microphone's a tool. The stand's a tool. Okay, Zoom's a tool. You want to practice your presentation skills. Put Zoom on, hit it, boom, go, talk. How'd I look? Want to build a habit? Get a paper habit tracker, start writing check marks. I don't care what it is, but don't go spending a lot of money on tools. You want to chop the tree down, you need the axe, right? Or you need the chainsaw, or you need something. So figure out what the tools are for practice and for execution. I kid you not, I probably look for tools every week, not as diligently some weeks as others. Andy AI, for those of you that are fortunate enough to have it, that's a tool. It has 12 million of Andy's words in Andy AI and Andy's lessons. That's a tool. I got another tool to give you. I didn't know 5 years ago that I was going to have Andy AI for you. Now all of you ask your questions to Andy AI, which makes real Andy feel lonely. Actually, real Andy's happy because he knows you're getting your answers really fast. Because real Andy's not as fast as Andy AI. Andy AI is pretty empathetic too, from the way I programmed it, but from what I hear. Okay, so you get what I'm saying, right? So make sure you got the right tools. And then let's talk about networking. Network with a purpose. So what do I mean by this? So a lot of people say, well, I hear I need to grow my network and I don't like talking to people. Well, first off, let's get over that. The network that you have is going to be your best next to me, Andy, and my products and community that I offer you for job searching and career development. Your network is the next best thing to have because the people that are around. So I always say to people, you will never have a how problem if you don't have a who problem. If you know the right who's, WHO, you'll never have a how problem because somebody will always be able to help you out. Somebody will always be able to connect you, advise you, or whatever. Much of the time, the struggles in your life are because you don't have the right who's around you. And, you've probably heard that, right? We're the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. I would say you're probably the average of the 5 people you pay most attention to, but let's not split hairs. There is truth to that expression. But what I would say to you is most people make 2 big mistakes when they network, or dare I say, don't network. The first thing is they only network when they need something, like I'm out of the job and I need somebody to help get me into whatever. So now I need to start networking. Well, that's bad. And then they get their fix, they get their job, and then they don't network anymore until they get fired again, and then they need the network again. And networking is about giving. and it is about giving first. Put your chits out there, build your bank up of goodwill. But more importantly, the tip I really want to drive home today is when you're from a professional standpoint and a mastering of your trade standpoint, you need to draw or should draw a networking map of who is it that will help me with my goals. And so what I always say to my job seekers, so obviously my job seeking side, I always say network based on where you want to go and then figure out who can take you there. So if you want to get into Coca-Cola, do you know anybody at Coca-Cola? Do you know anybody who knows anybody at Coca-Cola? Is there a particular boss we could try to hunt down at Coca-Cola? So that's, I want to go there. How do I get there? As opposed to what a lot of people do is they call out to their friends and they say, I lost my job. Do you know of anything? I mean, how's that going to work? Right now I have to think about what is it that you want? Where should I send you? You're putting me in the big blue ocean. I don't know how to help you. So what I tell people is, where do you want to go? Do you want to speak at that conference? Well, who are the people that organize the conference? Figure that out. Then see if you either want to reach into them directly, that's networking, or get somebody to introduce you or whatever. So I used the example maybe the other day, or maybe it was last week, about, well, if I need to write a book, well, who are all the publishers that publish the kind of books that I write? Well, that goes on. That is the start of the networking. Publisher A, publisher B, publisher C. Well, who works at those publishing agencies that we need to get to? Acquisition editors. They're the gatekeepers of book ideas and book proposals to see if that publisher is willing to pay for your book. Well, how do we get to them? Well, you need a literary agent, or you need to know the acquisitions editor. Either works, but some publishers won't work directly with authors. Fine. Who are they? And then you're drawing maps. So on my networking map, when I was starting out as a career coach, and I wrote about this story in the Zebra Code, one of my trainers was saying, oh, if you want to expand your coaching platform or your blogging platform, a lot of the e-zines will allow you to contribute. All you need to do is submit your article on their website. And you could check out, like one of them is the Huffington Post, now the Huff Post. So this is, I don't know, back in 2016, I think it was around the summertime. And I think it was around summertime 2016. And so I had somebody on my team named Rhonda, and I said, all right, Rhonda, we're gonna submit an article on the Huffington Post. Here's 30 articles. I want you to take an article every single day, and the first thing you do when you click on your computer is you just copy the article and you submit it into their form. It's like the applicant trashing system of blog posts. And then let's see if we get a hit. 30. There's 1 through 30 every single day for the next 6 weeks. Do that. So she did that, and we heard absolutely nothing. So on my networking map was Ariana Huffington. There were some of the editors whose names I found. I didn't know anybody who knew them. So I sent Ariana Huffington a message directly on a Thursday, like my dinner time. She answered me the next morning and said, I explained to her who I was, what I wanted. I put the exact email in the book for you to see how I wrote it to her. And then I showed you what her response was. We'd love to feature your voice. I've copied Madeline, the blogging editor. And then, I'm reading this. And then she says, Madeline will follow up with you. And then my next email was Madeline with my login credentials. And she's like, here, Andy, here you go. Boom, boom, boom. Here's login. Go post whatever you want. So I did. And I did that. And then that was a Friday. And then on Saturday, I got in my car and I was driving to the grocery store, and I pulled into the lot and I grabbed my phone and I was about to, I wanted to text my wife just to make sure I had everything that we needed. And I noticed that I had nearly 10,000. Like I have a little bubble, right? The bubble and the mail icon. I don't have any alerts, but the bubble's there. Actually, I don't even have any bubbles anymore, but at this time I did. And it was like 10,000 emails. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And I open up my email and I see all these download emails from our system that Kara and I were using at that time to give away our freemiums. And my first article got posted on like the business section at the top, and it stayed there for 10 days. So for like the next 10 days, we had downloads like that. So all of those people around the world had found me in a matter of one day. Now, obviously, it was more than one day's worth of work, but on my network map was Ariana Huffington, and I just tried to work my way into her. And then finally, I just want to email her directly. And that's what happened. And so, but do you have somebody you want to meet? And so it could be a person, it could be a name, it could just be, hey, the dude who runs that show, the dude who runs that podcast, the person who runs that event, whatever it might be. But you got to have a map. And then what's the next thing you got to do? You got to work the map. So every Friday or so, I reach out, I just send a few emails out of people that I want to maintain a relationship with. And I got little ticklers in my calendar or whatever that alert me, send so-and-so something. Send them a hey, send them a book, send them an article, send them a thing you wrote, send them a whatever, give them a hug, whatever it is. And then off it goes. I have this all in spades in the networking chapter in the book. So it's a good one. And then, well, it took me a while to figure this one out. Listen to the right people. Who are the right people? Your customers, the people you serve. You all have customers. I have customers. You might think, well, Andy, you rule your own day. No, I get customers. I don't have customers. I don't have a business. I don't have a community. I don't have a business. So who do I listen to? You. Who's my best source of data? You. Who tells me what my programs and products, the problems they need to solve? You. What did I do? Back in the day in 2016, I said if I was a job seeker, based on all my evaluation of all these people and all the techniques I've used and learned and talked to, these are the 5 pillars that somebody needs to generally go through, depending on who they are, depending on their goal. But basically speaking, these 5 tactics will serve any job seeker. They have to start in the right place. They have to develop their marketing material to bring themselves to market, like your resume and your LinkedIn profile. They have to be able to job search. They have to be able to interview, and they have to be able to negotiate their salaries. That's how it started. That's what I built. And then what happened? You told me, Andy, oh my God, they got one-way video interviews now. What am I going to do? Don't worry about it. I'll fix that for you. Andy, what's this with this applicant trashing system? Don't worry, I'll figure that out for you. Andy, well, they keep asking me these stupid questions. What should I say? Don't worry, I'll formalize that for you. And I just keep, boop, 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 boop. Right, every week I show up. Every week you guys tell me what's wrong. Every week I fix something for you. The products get better and better and better. Your greatest opportunities will be found in the sounds of other people's complaints. Pay attention. Do not listen to your competitors. Otherwise, you're just going to build what they have. I build what you want. I said, how else can I make this better? Give them online support. Let's do that. Let's have group coaching sessions. Great. They need reviews on their resumes. Let's do that. They need one-to-one coaching. Fine, we're going to do that. Record it for them. Even better. You get what I'm saying, right? If I was hawking career coach YouTube channels, I would be just giving you the same dang videos that they're giving you, or I would be giving them to you with the same kind of instruction they're giving. What do I want to do that for? Right? And I like to think I have a lot more to offer you. And I could draw from all my practical experience, which they don't have. So that's, I want you to think about this. Don't be a copycat. Really don't. That's what this whole talk is about. MVPs, it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be breathing. What are MVPs? Minimum viable products or minimum viable prototypes. When I said I want to offer a complete job searching program, what's a minimum viable product? Well, if it's going to be a complete program, it needs starting in the right place, writing a resume, job searching, interviewing, and salary negotiation. Minimum viable product. Now what does it have? Has a career changer module, has an executives module, has a LinkedIn module, has a salary negotiation workshop, has all of these detailed point solutions. It's a huge universe, has online support. I didn't have all that in version 1 or 2. But you get in motion, and then you work it, and then you iterate, and then you keep getting better. And what do a lot of perfectionists do? They hem, they haw, they wait. They never release it out into the wild, and therefore, they don't add value. I'm not saying I want you to be reckless. I said minimum viable product. Minimum viable product. Every week when I show up on Thursday, you get a minimum viable talk. And that minimum viable, I could give you a talk for 5 hours, but we don't want to do that, right? Because you don't have 5 hours you want to spend with me, or you get tired of listening to me, or it's just a lot of information. Great. Okay, well, I could script it all out, and I could give them everything that's in my heart, and I could give them everything they need. Well, no, that's not going to be as effective. Give them a minimum viable product and show up every week and talk to them. That's better. Then evaluate yourself every time and get better. So whatever it is you're building, the spreadsheet. I told this story about how I developed an estimating model so that for one of the consulting firms that I was working for, they were a hot mess as far as running projects. They hired me to basically clean up the mess and teach them how to develop accounts and run projects and do those kind of things. So I built a tool. It estimated projects. Very nicely, all different kind of IT projects. Then they told me we need the tool to estimate the project within 1 day for people who don't understand the technology, have never used it. And so basically people are going to go out and talk to prospective clients, not really knowing these new technologies that are so new. No one really has experience. We need you to build us a tool where we can give them a fixed estimate and stick to it with a 1 with a bunch of zeros after it. And it needs to be within 10% accuracy. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, well, I iterated that. Then what? Well, listen, I don't want the project managers to have to work too hard. The account partners don't have to work too hard. I gave them the tool. All they have to do is ask the questions, hit the button. It gives them what they need. Let's do that for the project managers too. Okay, now all the staff is laid out. Project managers don't even need to plan their projects. You just hit a button, Andy runs a macro, and bang, it's done. Well, all that didn't happen overnight, but I created a minimum viable product that we then got better and better and better. And then within 6 months, we had something quite elegant. It's the same thing for you. Get it up, get it moving, get it working, and get real live feedback on it. So the big difference between somebody who's willing to iterate in an agile form, right, where you get it up and running right away and working, living, breathing, and even if it's not perfect, what that person is able to do is iterate based on practical use. The perfectionist that wants to take 6 months or a year before they're able to let go of whatever it is they're building, their version 1.0 is 12 months in. The agile person, the person who's creating MVPs, who got it up, running, living, breathing, is on version 12. But version 12 of practical use, their customers are giving them feedback, or their alpha group or beta group or gamma group or whoever it is telling them, let's do this, let's not do that. Take this out, add this in. And they're doing it, and they're doing it, and they're doing it. This is the key to the world. And the world is in today's world, 2024, is so much more forgiving than it was in 1988 when I started. It needed to be much more perfect. Everything needed to be buttoned up. The tie needed to be all the way up as if it was strangling me. It's different today. Get stuff moving. Get stuff moving. And 10, but not last, metrics. You have to have a way to gauge. So one of the things that I want you to try to do as much as possible, I know some of you will ignore me. Actually, the majority of you are going to ignore me on this. But I'm going to say it anyway because I care about you that much. I would really try to get away from outcome-based goals. How fast am I going to run the marathon? Have you ever run one before? Have you ever run one in heat and on the hills? Right. What makes you think you're going to run it in 3 hours and 30 minutes when you've never run one or never run one on heat and hills or whatever it might be? Maybe you wake up and you didn't get a good night's sleep that day and you feel like poo-poo. So what a lot of people do is they say, okay, I'm going to crank up this online product. And since I'm Andy and I'm really good at recruiting and I was really a good consultant and I've spent 15 or 16 months helping people understand that I'm really good at job searching too. And we do some live events and I got my weekly blog and the podcast going and I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I just think, maybe 500 people should buy this product, but when only 50 people do, why would I ever set expectations that I needed to gain a certain amount of revenue with my first product release? But that's what people do. And then what they say is, well, only 50 people bought it, so I must really stink. When the fact of the matter is that there are so many other things that contribute to your ability to sell a product, which you don't control. You can influence, right? I can show up, I can teach, I can show you my style, I can show you what's in the product. More importantly, I need to show you how you're going to transform. But was I clear? Were the benefits clear? Were the features clear? Was the messaging clear? Did I make them easy? Did I make it easy for them to sign up? Was I there to answer their questions? Did I answer the frequently asked questions? When they signed up, did I give them a good welcome message? And so on and so forth. And then instead, I looked at, okay, first goal, launch the damn product. Okay, check. Get someone to buy it. Just get someone to buy it. Okay, check. Make sure, like, you service it effectively. Make sure you're available to answer their questions, right? Like, all of those things were my metrics to know if I had a first successful launch. And guess what? Here we are on launch number 100 or whatever number it is of whatever product or service I sell, and I still do the same thing. I have not one time set an outcome goal, anything related to what's the revenue we need to generate as a result of this party, ever. We don't do that. We look at things we absolutely 100% can control, and then I ask myself the other questions, and then what happens is when I become laser focused on the stepping stone goals, the ones that are 100% within my control, which are explicitly highlighted in the metrics that I'm going to cite, then I get better. Then I notice the revenue increase. Then I notice the level of engagement increase in the chat. Everything you all say in any given show on any given Thursday or any given multi-live day event, I read every single chat you write in there. I know who says what. I get to know your personalities because I watch it. I watched the other days twice for stuff. And I loved how supportive you were of each other. You had great questions. I look at it and I see, oh, I didn't get a chance to answer that question. I need to make sure I answer that Thursday or something like that. Like, get in control of these metrics and make the metrics about things you can control. And in the Zebra Code, I literally listed out the best metrics and the questions to ask yourself to surface the best metrics so that you don't misconstrue your level of progress. Right? So when I look at, I launched a product, I could have been looking at, well, not as many people bought it as I had hoped, or I could have been looking at, check, you did it. You did it for the first time ever. It was a success. 50 people bought it. Now you got to serve those people. Oh, you get an opportunity to look at data now. Now you can see how many people visited the page, how many people engaged in that, how many people asked you questions, how many people showed you buying signals, what percentage of them purchased, what could I have done to better or be more clear about that. So metrics are really, this is a big, big deal. This is gonna set you sideways if you're not in order. And then the last thing is, and part of the metrics is reflecting, use the metrics preferably. Otherwise, you won't see how awesome you are. And what do I always say? No matter who you are or how successful you are, you will never feel successful unless you reflect why. Can I get a hey or an amen on a Thursday for what I'm about to say? All of you that are here, believe it or not, have some type A blood in you. Not a like antibody. I'm talking about not A blood. I'm talking about you are a type A person because you wouldn't still be sitting here listening to me at 71 minutes in if you weren't. And what those people like yourselves and this guy, what we tend to do is what? Look at where we are not. I'm not there yet. How much further do I need to go? Well, if you don't take a moment to evaluate on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis all that you have accomplished, you will never know how far you've come, ever. So when I look at, now there's ways to do that. I could look at my first video, put it side by side with today's. That's one way. I could look at that chat. You know, I had live shows where like 6 people came. One of them was my mom. One of them was Kara. One of them was one of my other staff. There was me and I think 2 people I didn't know. 2 people showed up that didn't know me. That was a start. And so I have to think about, like, today, I got to teach again. There might be people here who were here for the very first time who never saw anything from me. I don't want this to be, if this is the only thing they see from me, how will they feel? And you've got to have a map in order, the right questions to ask yourself. You have to have a map of where you're going. So you know that grid I told you, job search curriculum, leadership curriculum, whatever? Well, that's a map. Well, I keep putting pieces in there. I started out, I had a 3-part video series. That was how I sold my first online coaching product, online training product for job searching. And I made a bunch of mistakes. The title of the program, the facilitation, and those kind of things. But I thought about what went well. What did I learn? What might I improve? This is all the part of the reflection. And again, going back to what I said earlier, experience is not what happens to you. It's the meaning you attach to what happens to you. And that meaning can change over time. Just make sure you're speaking kind words to yourself. Going back to this, I genuinely believe this part here, the framing, the story you tell yourself, the middle piece, this will keep you sane or make you go crazy. If you are not constantly understanding that life happens for you, not to you, what just happened? How did I benefit? That's a question. Why is it not why me? What can I do with this right now? Why would something like that happen? What can I extract from that? It's come full circle. All right, to run through this real quick. Attitude is everything. Think about this 3-pronged effect. Identify the right capabilities. These are the foundational skills. That is the zebra code is a wonderful example of 15 of those capabilities that you need to be able to do a lot of the functions that many of you have. Get the right stable of teachers in there. And I didn't go to the first degree, second degree, and tertiary levels of teachers. But if you have the Master Your Craft in the leadership program, I go into that. Practice perfectly and progressively. Be consistent. Show up the same way. Get the right kind of tools, but don't go overspend initially. Make sure you're networking based on where you want to go. Make sure you're listening to your customers or the people you serve. Your customer could be your teammates. Your customer could be your community. Your customer could be your boss. Your customer could be your management team. Create MVPs, metrics, and make sure, no matter what, you're reflecting very frequently. All right, I hope you enjoyed that portion of this. If you did, click the like button. Share this party. People need help. And if you haven't grabbed it, well, yours will say Master Your Craft or Master Your Trade. But grab this booklet. It's got the 10-day or 10-week challenge in it.